Are you going on the low carb cruise to Alaska?
If you are, today we're going to talk about how you can get the most out of your trip for the least amount of money. Hey, what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
Welcome back to the channel. We are super excited because we're getting ready to go on the low carb cruise to Alaska.
For a lot of people, this is a bucket list item that they are crossing off. For some people, not only have they never been to Alaska or a low carb cruise, they've never cruised before. So we want to make sure that we help everybody get the most bang for the buck and also get the most fun out of the trip.
So Rachel actually fell in love with cruising when she went on a low carb cruise a couple years ago. So much so that year for Christmas, I bought her a cruise to Alaska to celebrate her birthday last year. I know that sounds kind of weird, like it was a Christmas present to celebrate her birthday.
Right.
But we went to Alaska last year on pretty much the same itinerary. It was a different ship with Royal Caribbean, but all the same port stops, except for it was in a different order. And we wanted to kind of go over how we saved a lot of money and didn't go on like organized excursions, but really got the most amount out of our trip. So we want to go over that, but before we even do that, we want to go over the best way to really enjoy the low carb cruise in its entirety.
So if you've never cruised before or it's been a while, we wanted to share with you that when you're getting on the ship, you want to be prepared for some stuff because you're going to get onto the ship, but you're not going to be able to access your cruise room right away. Usually those things don't open up until like 1 o'clock. I mean, maybe something will be different. You'll get in earlier. But for most cruises that we've gone on, you don't get into your stateroom right away. So some things that you want to think about. You're going to have to carry around on the ship all the things that like you're bringing on as far as your carry-on goes. So you want something that's going to be easy for you to carry. Maybe, yes, have like a bathing suit if you want to be able to get right into the pool. You want to, before you even get on the ship, go through all of like your safety checks in the app, make sure that you listen to the required videos and stuff. And then when you get on the ship, first things first, find the bathroom. That's going to be Joe's first thing first. Right after you use the restroom, then find your muster station and get that out of the way. Sometimes people forget to do it and it can lead to embarrassing intercom pages because you do have to do that muster drill.
There is nothing more annoying to me than like 2 hours later and the captain is still making things going, hey, you still haven't checked into the muster station. Just go do it right away. And then a lot of us all head up to the Windjammer because you have a few hours to kill. It really depends on what time you get to the ship. For us, we're not actually using the group transportation because we need to do different transportation when we get back. So our boarding time is 10 o'clock. So I can tell you for us, we're going to get on the ship at 10 o'clock. We'll probably stroll around for a little bit and then we'll head up to the Windjammer. We like to find a table where as people come in, like people can just sit and sit and sit. Because for us, the whole reason to go on the low carb cruise is for community.
And one of the really beautiful things that like Debbie and the gang do when it comes to the low carb cruise is make sure that everybody has a lanyard, and the lanyard is going to be an identifier. When you see people around the cruise ship that's got that lanyard on, get to know them. They're part of the low carb cruise and you've got an instant conversation item. You know that, hey, I'm with those people. And if you see somebody that's wearing a lanyard and looking like I don't know where I'm supposed to sit, we're going to encourage you to say, hey, are you looking for a table? You looking for somebody to sit with? Because, community, it is a muscle that needs to be exercised. So if you're hoping to like make some new friends and have some good conversations, be prepared to wear that lanyard and be looking out for other people who have the lanyard on as well.
Now, I'm one of the first people to tell you I hate wearing lanyards, but I do like to wear the lanyard on the low carb cruise just because, there are going to be people that you don't know. There are going to be people I don't know. And I, like Rachel said, want to identify to the rest of our group that, hey, I'm with you guys. Because for us, it's not just going to the meetings. The meetings are cool. We'll be emceeing. We're speaking at one of the conference meetings. But for us, we just want to hang out with people, and I know that's why a lot of you are going as well. Now, when it comes to meals and stuff like that, again, for us, we generally head up to the Windjammer or the Solarium. We get up there usually early, and again, for us, it's just about finding people to hang out with. So I would encourage you in the morning, even if you're not a super early morning person, if you want to hang out with people, go up and look for people in our group and just pull up a chair. You don't even have to worry about being invited. Most people are pretty good about, hey, just come sit down with us and just build up that community. The other times to really get around people like that is in the evenings, maybe after dinner, like going to shows or entertainment, karaoke, all the different things that are available on the ship. We love to go and take over like Sorrento's Pizza and build pizza stacks. If you don't know what that is you basically go in there and scrape off all of the toppings, eat the toppings, and make a big giant stack of pizza crust. It was something that Nurse Cindy started, and we love seeing who can build the biggest pizza stack. But just find people and do the shows and the different entertainment things together.
So one way that you can be kind of in the know of like what are people doing, because there is so much to do on a ship, like whether it is game shows, there's going to be music, live music playing, there's going to be karaoke, there's all kind of trivia contests, some people are in the casino, there's all kinds of things to do. So how do you find other people and find out where they're going? Well, if you have the Royal Caribbean app, and I hope that you do, you need to go ahead and get that if you haven't already, put it on your phone. One thing that's exciting is right now, the activities are populating in that daily planner. So you can already start taking a look at how you want to spend your time, whether it is going to a show or, attending a fitness class. There's so much stuff going on. But in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see 3 dots, and that is basically something that looks like a messaging system. It is a messaging system. And once you get on the ship, you will be able to utilize that. So as you meet people on the low carb cruise, let them know, hey, can I add you to this instant messenger? It is not connected to your phone. It's not like you're giving away like your text message, like your private, phone number. It's only going to be an app that's used on the low carb cruise, but you want to ask what is their actual name. So if someone has a nickname like Joe, he's going to be in the app as Joseph Stauffer. It's going to be his actual name. So you find out what's that person's name, and then you can send them a friend request.
So again, one thing to note, you can't do this until you get on the ship and you have to log into the ship's Wi-Fi. Now, the Royal Caribbean messaging app and the app itself is available to everybody, whether or not you buy an internet package. For us, we buy an internet package because, again, we're content creators. We need to be able to upload videos and check email and stuff like that. But if you don't have that, that's okay. There is a free version available on the ship. Once you get on there, you're just going to go and log into it, and you tell them, I want the free one, and then you can still have access to the app to book reservations, things like that, and then, of course, the messaging. And the messaging is great because, again, not everybody has the Wi-Fi package. So after you do that, just go ahead again and find different things to do. Now, we also wanted to talk about, from our experience going to Alaska, we went the very first week of September, so the weather is a little bit different than when we're going now, which is in June. But one thing you can pretty much always count on in Alaska is it's going to rain.
Yeah, so you need to be prepared. It's also going to probably vary in temperature from a normal summer temperature, right? At the very least, it's going to be cooler than it is here in Florida at 95 degrees. Is it going to be 60? Is it going to be 50? Is it going to be 70? We can't guarantee that. So the best thing that we can say is bring layers. You want to make sure that you have different layers, and some of them need to be water wicking and waterproof.
So I can tell you, when we went in September, the only time that we were cold, and again, we are Floridians, and at the time we were living in South Florida, where it's really hot, especially in August and September. The only time where we were cold was when we went to Skagway and we went up, the White Pass Railroad. The rest of the time, we were pretty much wearing very light jackets. I don't even think we were wearing hoodies most of the time. I've checked the temperatures, and I think they're predicting in like the mid to high 50s, low 60s the entire time we're there. So the best thing to do is to bring layers. Don't bring a big heavy coat. You want to bring layers. You want to, every time you leave the ship or even on the ship, you want to have like maybe like a t-shirt or something, or a little light long sleeve shirt, then where you have like a hoodie over it, then where maybe you could put a light jacket over that, and then make sure you have a raincoat or a poncho that you can put over it all. So upsize a couple things. We'll leave some links for some of the different jacket things we bought last year. One of the jackets that Rachel bought was like literally like a 3-in-1 jacket where you could zip out the liners, and that's what she wore pretty much everywhere. If you are like me and you get very cold, you might want to bring some like lightweight gloves, maybe a hat. Completely up to you.
Now, you should also plan on bringing bathing suit stuff, because there are 2 indoor pools. So those are going to be climate controlled. So even if it is windy or breezy or chilly in the morning or in the evening, you will have an opportunity to like have access to a pool. And I will say that if you are looking to socialize, we find a lot of people gravitate to the solarium portion of the cruise because it's adults only. I think it's 18 and older now. It used to be like 16 and older. So there is a buffet in that solarium area. Now, children are allowed to eat at the solarium restaurant, but they're not allowed to go into the pool or into the hot tubs there in the solarium.
So a few other things real quick so we don't make this video too long that you should consider bringing is, number one, a camera. Now, most of us have phones, but if you have a better camera, you might want to bring a better camera so that you can get pictures of wildlife, whether you're going to Juno or Sitka or Skagway or even whales off the side of the ship. Having something like a 35 millimeter with a really good camera lens or something like that is definitely helpful. If not, don't worry about it. I would at least consider getting some of the zoom things that you can clip onto your phone. Along with that, you might want to get yourself a set of binoculars. We'll leave some links for these things down below. And then if you haven't gotten them already, we're trying to get this video out so that you can still order this stuff from Amazon before you leave. Make sure you get the plastic luggage tag things. I know Debbie has put things up on the Facebook group to get these things. They're little sleeves so that you can put your luggage tag on there. Don't put them on until you get to the hotel, though. If you put them on before your flight out to Seattle, you could cause some issues. So print out your boarding tags and your luggage tags at home, and then once you get to the hotel on Thursday or Friday or Thursday night, just go ahead and put that on there. The other thing you might want to get
metal hooks
is some metal hooks, like magnet hooks, to hang up on the wall. And also be aware that Royal Caribbean has now banned any kind of like extension cord things, even ones that are like European adapters. So you used to be able to have like a little plug thing that had a cord on it. You can't have that anymore. It's got to be just like a little plug-in thing, like a cube that you can plug into the wall. The only exception would be if it's a USB charger. So if you have like a USB hub where it plugs into a USB and gives you more of them, that they'll allow. But anything that plugs into the wall, it's got to be a block unless it's a USB hub. So it's just something to be aware of. One of the things what we like to do to help with charging our phones, because there's not a lot of like, you know, outlets and USB chargers. As far as I know, Anthem of the Seas doesn't even have like USB outlets in the wall like some of the newer ships. So we like to bring a battery bank. This way you can charge up that battery bank and then you can keep that next to your bed, and you can be charging your phone with it next to your bed or however you like to do it. Usually you can get multiple charges out of that.
For people who have never cruised Royal Caribbean, we will say that the way the ship is usually laid out is fun in the front. Just remember this, fun in the front and food in the back.
Yes.
Like my food is always landing on my butt. Okay, that's where it gravitates to.
Yeah, like the windjammer up on the top, on the top and the back. Then you have the all
main
the
dining.
Restaurants, main dining, everything is down in the bottom, but in the back. And then some of the specialty restaurants may be scattered throughout the ship.
But then like theaters is going to be in the front. Things that like you're going to see the show, like the Royal Theater, those things are going to be in the front. The casino, if you're interested in that, that's going to be like front, middle, that sort of thing. So usually like fun in the front, and then it's going to be food in the back.
Now, last thing I wanted to just mention is that this low carb cruise is a little bit different than the past ones because of the way the meeting spaces are. So you are going to have to pick and choose some of the things you want to see when it comes to the panels. So I would definitely take a look at the agenda that Debbie has sent out and pick what things you want to go to. And then, of course, you do have the main conferences with the main speakers, and you can decide that too. You don't have to do everything.
No.
Just remember, you don't have to do everything. So that's just really important to just kind of figure out what you want to do, because you may want to go do the bumper cars or go do the iFly or something like that. And the time that you can get may be during a speaker, so you're going to have to make sure you go over that. So last thing we wanted to go over real quick is just some of the things that you can do when you go to Alaska without spending a lot of money. Like, I can tell you, we have 0 excursions booked for this.
Right.
So when we went last year, we paid for 1 excursion. We did the White Pass Railroad.
Highly recommend.
Up to the suspension bridge. And I can tell you, that was a blast. It was definitely worth it. We did not book through the cruise line. We booked through a different, outside company, but it was pretty much the same company that the cruise line hires, because we had people that went through the cruise line and they were on our tour. If the cruise line is sold out, I would suggest, if you still want to do an excursion, it may not be too late to go to shoreexcursiongroup.com, because sometimes you can get some things there and save a little bit of money. Just be aware that when you book outside excursions or you do something on your own, the ship will leave without you if you don't get back in time.
Right.
So you're going to the United States.
Which is good news.
This is not something that as big of a deal as if you go to Mexico or something like that, because you'd be stuck in the United States. But the easy way to avoid being left behind is, number 1, give yourself enough time. And number 2, make sure you are always on ship time. So ship time, they're going to tell you what it is. It's based on where we're leaving from, Seattle. But times change, so just make sure you listen to them and go, they're going to tell you what time you have to be back. So if they go 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock ship time. So that's something very important. What we like to do is we always give ourselves a 2-hour buffer. So if they say all aboard is at 5 o'clock, we like to at least start heading back to the ship by 3 o'clock.
In fact, my recommendation is going to be, even if you're not normally an early riser for port days, become an early riser for this so that you can enjoy it to the fullest. Because if you are some of the first ones off the ship and you can get into, those first bookings for the road, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get back on time. So that can be something that can be helpful.
Yeah. And then what we like to do is we like to get off early, get back on early, and then we'll go up and we'll enjoy things on the ship, because most people aren't on the ship.
No lie.
So if you want to go enjoy things like maybe the iFly or something like that, that's the best time to go. If you want to go up to the, Windjammer, the best time to go is when everybody is off the ship. The pools are generally dead, so it's just a lot of fun to do it that way. So if you get back early, you can explore the ship a little bit more. Okay, so in no particular order, here's our recommendations. Juno. A lot of the excursions are things like whale watching, and then Mendenhall Falls.
That's a huge one.
I mean, there's obviously other excursions,
sure,
but a lot of them revolve around those 2 things. We didn't do the whale watching. We saw whales off the side of the ship, though. But our recommendation, if you want to save a bunch of money, is head over to the Mendenhall Falls Park. You can do this very cheap. There's public transportation, and you can also get an Uber. Now, the Uber, ride sharing, Lyft, all of those, they won't pick you up at the cruise port. You have to go into town, but it's like a very, very short walk. I don't remember exactly how long, but I mean, it was walk. If you can walk the ship, you can walk into town.
Yeah.
From there, you can arrange for the Uber to pick you up in town, and then they can take you over to the Glacier Park. But they have to drop you off at the outside parking. They can't bring you right up to the park. It's like a rule that's there. I don't remember exactly what we paid, but I feel like we paid like $40. But that was for me, Rachel, Chris, and Miriam.
And so again, that's going to be, plan on saying that you're going to have to walk at least a mile to the entrance of the park itself. So you need to be able to, walk the ship comfortably, and you're going to need to be able to walk, a mile or so in order to get into the actual physical park.
Yeah, I don't think it was quite that far, probably about a half a mile. But again, you're going to have to walk back to get picked up as well. But if you don't want to do that, there is other public transportation like buses and stuff like that that can take you over there. Now, when you go over there, say if you do the excursions like the whale watching and the glacier, you only get like an hour at the glacier. It's literally enough time to walk from the entrance to the overlook and back. Like literally it's going to take you like 25 minutes to walk up there. You get 5 minutes to stare at the falls, at
Which
Nugget
is beautiful.
Falls, and then you have to turn around and walk right back. But if you do it the way we're suggesting, where you just go on your own to a national park,
it's your pace.
it is $5 to get in. I've got my notes right here. It is $5 to get in there.
Yeah. You can actually use a park pass, a national park pass, if you have one.
Yes. Now, the other things that I have my notes on, the public bus, by the way, is $2 one way, and the shuttle is like $45 round trip. But like I said, we took an Uber. So the highlights when you go over there is there are so many walking trails. So you can do the main trail, which I think is like a mile. There's another one where we walked all the way up through the woods. I think we walked like 7 or 8 miles.
Yeah,
it all depends on your condition.
Longer.
But if you have enough time, you can go all the way down to Nugget Falls. So definitely recommend doing it that way. Now, Skagway. Now, again, this is not in the order that our ship is going. This is just the order I wrote it down and pretty much the order that we did.
We did it.
Skagway is where we did the White Pass Railroad. If you haven't done that, I would recommend it. It is a lot of fun. But you can take you can take transportation from the cruise ship for free into town, or you can walk. It is a very short distance.
Very short walk.
From there, walking around town is awesome. And then they also have the Klondike Gold National Park. And that is all right there in town. Lots of things to do for free. Some of the little shops could be a little expensive. But again, if you're not going on an excursion, you can use the money for the stuff in town.
Now, I will say, if you're doing that White Pass Railroad and you have like problems with heights, you're gonna want to not look out the window every once in a while, because it is a very, very narrow passage. I mean, it's part of the amazingness of it is like, how could they build a railroad in the sky like this? Because it's very, very narrow, but you're going to have like waterfalls almost coming inside of the train on one side. And then the most beautiful overlooks, just absolutely breathtaking, gorgeous, but you are up high. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I would also say if you're going on the train, it doesn't matter which side you sit on, because there is beautiful scenery on
everywhere.
Both sides. I would try to sit next to a window, especially if you have a camera. Also, they do allow you to go outside in between trains where you can get unobstructed views and unobstructed, good photos and stuff like that. Last place, the other place we wanted to talk about, it's not the last place, but the other place we want to talk about was Sitka.
Yes.
So Sitka, we did not do an excursion, and we could save you a bunch of money and hit multiple excursions that the cruise line charges a couple of $100s for.
Right.
So when you get off the cruise ship, there's free transportation to like the main hub. I don't know what it's called, but it's free to get over there. From there, here's our suggestion. This was the way we did it. There are different taxi kind of things. If I remember right, Sitka was the place that has no Ubers. You can't hire Ubers or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they do have like these little minivans and things like that that will pick you up for, it was like $10 to take you to different places. So our recommendation is grab one of those. I think ours was like a red van, if I remember
Ours was
right.
a red van, yes.
We paid $10 and have them take you to Fortress of the Bear, which again is one of the excursions that the cruise line does.
Now, like Joe is saying, just like when we talked about Mendenhall Falls, if you're doing an excursion that includes Fortress of the Bear, you have to go at the pace of the excursion of the tour. But for us, because we went on our own, we could stay there as long as we wanted, and we wanted to stay there a long time because you can't believe the proximity that you have to these like grizzly bears and black bears. It's just absolutely amazing. But that's not where we stopped at Sitka.
So again, the transportation that we took, it was like $10 or whatever it was round trip. So he did give you a time limit, but it's much longer,
way longer
than what the cruise lines give. I feel like it was over an hour, which an hour is more than enough at Fortress of the Bear. So from there, we got back onto the van thing that we rented, and he was going to bring you back into town. And instead, we asked him to drop us off at the Alaska Raptor Center, which is down the street.
Oh my goodness. And that was breathtaking. Like, you can't imagine, once again, the proximity, the closeness that you get to these predator birds like the bald eagle, American bald eagle. I mean, you are very, very close. So it's really a great exhibit, and they're very inexpensive. Like, I believe Fortress of the Bear costs us like $16.
So Fortress of the Bear is currently $15 to get in for Fortress of the Bear. The Alaska Raptor Center is $16 and it's $11 if you're a veteran. Now, when you go to the Alaska Raptor Center, don't just walk around there. They have another pathway that goes up and down the streams. When we went, it was the salmon run. So you got to see all of that kind of stuff as well. But definitely don't miss
What's
the
in the
walking through
backyard.
the woods and stuff like that. When you go in there, you're going to see a big giant like eagle nest that they have where you can walk in and take photos. Keep walking past that. You'll see a big walking trail. Go all through there. From there, we then walked right across the street to the Sitka National Park and Totem Pole Museum.
And that was amazing too. In fact, we may actually like take a deeper dive at that because we didn't spend as much time as we wanted to there. But that is a beautiful, you're looking for like, you know, native Alaskan artwork, that sort of thing. It was just absolutely beautiful. And again, this is where you want to have your camera because the forest itself is absolutely breathtaking.
So again, you walk from the Alaska Raptor Center, you walk through the national park, and then you end up, it literally brings you right back to where that van picked you up, where you can then get on the free shuttle back to the cruise. So we did all three of those, which all three of those are actual excursions. And the entire thing, because the national park is free. You're just walking through there. And we did all of that for less than $40 a person. So definitely recommend doing it. You're getting 3 of the excursions that the cruise lines charge you a few $100s for, and you can do it all on your own. You can do it even if, you know, you're not great at walking. If you maybe have some disabilities, you probably just wouldn't want to walk, you know, over to the totem thing. But if you have like a scooter or something like that, there's plenty of ways to get around. And we were back on the ship by, I feel like, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock when we did that.
You know, anytime you're going around like this, you talk to the person that's driving you because they can be very flexible as well. We, you know, when we said, hey, you know, we went to the Fortress of the Bear and they were just going to do round trip. They were going to just bring us back to where we picked up the vehicle. And so we asked the gentleman that was driving, do you mind taking us to the Raptor Center instead of taking us back all the way to the start? And he was fine to do that.
Yeah, and also talk to the drivers because a lot of them have a lot of knowledge. You know, every time we went, the drivers were like giving us all of the insights to Alaska, telling us places to eat, although we didn't really take advantage of that, but giving us some of the history, so that's really good. Last place I wanted to talk about, British Columbia, there's really not much to talk about because our ship's not going to be there that long.
Only a couple hours.
If you ever go back, there's plenty of things to do in town where it's free, or like we went to like a boat museum, which was like $4 or $5.
We went to like another like larger museum, like a museum of science, and that was interesting too. And I don't think it was very expensive.
We're not going to be in British Columbia very long, so it kind of takes it out. It's kind of the mandatory we have to stop at another country thing. But the other place we want to talk about was Seattle. So again, we're kind of cheap. Or frugal, and
that's a good way to
we
say
don't want to spend a lot of money on excursions. And honestly, Seattle is ridiculously expensive,
Very
so we
expensive.
didn't do the Space Needle or any of that kind of stuff. We took a ride to downtown to whatever, like along the pier is called.
The Pikes Peak area.
So we went down there over where the original Starbucks is. We walked around there for a little while, and then from there, you can take a ferry over to Bainbridge Island. So the ferry is public transportation, and it is $10.50 round trip, $5.50 for seniors. And here's what's cool is you get on the ferry and then you go over to Bainbridge Island and you can just walk around. There's lots of cool shopping, there's parks and everything over that. And coming back, I think they run like every 20 minutes or something like that. Every 20 or 30 minutes, the ferry comes back. So you don't have a dedicated one you need to come back on. All you do is they give you like the times that each one is going to leave. And then you just go in and you get on the very next ferry and you go right back.
And there's actually like 2 routes that you can take, but we asked them, you know, like, hey, if you could only go to one route, where would you go? And they suggested the Bainbridge Island. So that's where we went. And if you are a pickleball fan, you definitely need to go there because that's actually the place where pickleball was invented in the 60s.
So that is our entire list of good things to do on the low carb cruise. Again, the low carb cruise, the most important thing is community. I know that Debbie would want me to tell you that it's all about the speakers. I'm going to tell you it's all about community. And if you enjoy that, don't forget, we do still have some cabins available on the 2KK cruises later on this December, kind of like the low carb cruise, but for us, just hanging out in community. One other thing I should mention before we end the video is there is no judgment on the cruise. If you are keto or if you are carnivore, if you decide, hey, I'm going to go off the keto and carnivore for the cruise, there is no judgment by us or anybody else. People are very good about, like, you do you, you're on vacation. Some people choose to go off of keto and enjoy whatever they want. Some people choose to, like, ease it up a little bit, and some people just stick straight keto. And what's cool is all of the different restaurants, the specialty restaurants, and the main dining staff are pretty good about, you know, like helping you out and you know, making substitutions. Do be aware, especially in the main dining room though, if you make a bunch of substitutions, it makes your meal take a lot longer. Now, Debbie does a very good job at letting the main dining staff know like what our eating lifestyle is. So sometimes they will prepare things. Like on the 2KK cruise, they knew that like we didn't eat bread, so they were preparing French onion soup without the bread so that we didn't have to wait. But the more substitutions you make, especially in the main dining room, it can add 15, 20, 30 minutes because they have to special make that. When you go to the specialty restaurants, they're cooking it to order, so it's not as much of a thing. But just be aware that that can happen. But if you have gluten allergies or things like that, talk to the head waiter and they will actually allow you to like look at the menu for the next day and have everything prepared so that you don't have to wait.
Yeah, and that can be the same thing for breakfast. If you have like a, you know, special concerns for dietary, like, you know, if you're gluten free, they will cook it in a separate kitchen. Like they're very attentive to those sorts of things. But you can usually get your meal instead of the Windjammer in main dining. They will be open for breakfast.
So those are all of our tips to get the most out of the low carb cruise to Alaska. Now let us know down in the comment section if this list was beneficial. And also let us know if we missed anything.
And also don't forget to give Debbie and Kathy and Michelle and everybody that's putting the low carb cruise together a great big hug and thank you. They work so hard to make this possible for the community to get together and just have a lot of learning and laughter.
Now, if you like seeing videos like this, please do us a favor, take a look at the video we have linked right over there. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video I'm going to put right over here.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon, and that way every single time we go to Alaska, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time.
Bye.